So today we're going to be talking about uh, two main things in our experiences that we couldn't do when we were with our narcissist that we can do now.
Hmm. Yeah. So,
Because you go through a lot of changes when you get out of one of these relationships.
yes. In fact, getting out is difficult because you can't imagine sometimes, well, what would life be without that person?
Hmm.
Or
Yes.
you tend to be a little bit slower because you got into the relationship so fast
Hmm.
and you got to that state of, entanglement, because I don't even know if that's a real commitment. You're committed, but they're not. Um, And because you're so deeply entangled with this thing, it's kind of hard to, yeah, kind of like take these tentacles out of you. Yeah, you think you've got rid of this thing, but you still have this other thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, for me, hmm, hmm, two things. Okay. Thing number one for me was I recognized when I got out, I don't worry anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
yeah, I used to worry a lot, and I thought it was strange because I'm not a worrisome type of person.
Right. You're a happy-go-lucky, easygoing
Yes,
kind of person.
yeah, life is going to be better. The sun will come out tomorrow kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in that relationship, because it always felt like if you had to be worried, you always had to be like concerned about what's going to happen next because they consume all your thoughts and your mental space
Yeah.
with their concerns, and they're always worried.
Hmm. About everything.
Yes. So it's like, for me, it was like really interesting to discover that now I'm free of that. I just don't worry anymore. When I was in the relationship, I had to be worried.
Right.
In fact, just a basic conversation would go something like this. You should do this thing so you don't have to worry about it. I was like, I wasn't worried about it. I just want to do it because I want to do it. No, 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 you have to. Like last time we were talking about cleaning and all of those other chores, and they make everything into a chore. You just can't go to the supermarket and get groceries. It's a chore.
That is something I noticed. Everything is a chore.
Yeah,
Like there are some people that do like cleaning, but there's some people that would prefer not to.
yeah.
He always said to me if there was like a couple of dishes in the sink, he couldn't he couldn't fully relax if he knew that there was a couple of dishes in the sink. He had to do it. He had to finish it to be able to relax.
Yeah. An inanimate object that can't jump out of the sink, it will not attack you. It's not a big deal, but their choice of behavior and thought process says this is a worry. This
Hmm.
is going to be a problem.
Mountains and a molehills.
Yeah, I know, right? So, yeah, definitely, I would say my experience has been the thing that I can do now that I couldn't do then in terms of worrying then is like just have a free thought,
Hmm.
calm mind. Like I can connect now with that space in my mind where I can just enjoy life.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. I noticed that it felt like there was nothing in my head. Like before, I would have all these circular thoughts like going around and around, never ending, worrying about what they're going to say next or how to respond to what they said or how to defend myself the next time. And I think it was a couple of months after I left that one that I noticed there was like it felt empty in my brain because all those thoughts just disappeared.
And that's the interesting thing because when I felt that sense of emptiness, it now felt like if something was wrong.
Uh,
And it took me a while to get over the fact that there is nothing wrong.
'Cause you get so used to it.
You think that a cluttered mind that's constantly chattering negativities towards you know, is a normal thing.
No, it was normal for you.
Yeah, and then when you decide to stop it and there is no more chatter, now you think like, if, where's the noise?
Mhm.
right? And it took me a while to learn that I had to grieve that whole feeling. Because grief, people usually only think of it as like somebody dies or something like that, pet, person, whatever, something that you like, or something you think you can never ever have again.
Mhm.
All those would create that sense of grief. But we only try to like link it to death, and it kind of is not true. Mentally, you need to grieve a lot of things because there's some things that you really need to let go of,
Mhm.
like a death, and never ever like they'll never come back. The same way I will never go back to being abused. You gotta
Mhm.
let it die.
Yeah. Yeah, it is technically it is the death of something.
Yes, yes.
It's not necessarily a
Uh,
physical.
yeah, I'm not a person,
Yeah.
but it is, part of what your life was,
Mhm.
and it's now no longer.
Yeah, and
And you
getting
gotta
used to
embrace it.
yeah, getting used to your new norm. Like,
Yeah,
and you can choose what that looks like after you get out of these
yeah,
relationships.
yeah.
Before you don't have a choice.
But that's it, right? And that grieving process, takes, a while. Because you gotta remember now, your conscious mind may have made a decision.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm done with this. This is hurting too much. But your subconscious mind is only accustomed to what it's accustomed to.
Yeah.
It's gonna take up a new, like a new set of time now for that mind to say, well, okay, what's the new pattern again?
Mhm.
Because it works on habits and patterns.
Yeah.
And if your habit and pattern is chatter, 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 negative, negative, negative,
Mhm.
well, it's looking for it. That's
Mhm.
why some people end up in another, similar type relationship.
Yeah.
Or they still have the behaviors like if they're in a relationship, even though they're no longer in a relationship. And then, they probably end up only attracting another one
Mhm.
because, a great person who's out there is probably turned away from you because you're still hanging on to those behaviors
Mhm.
from before.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, no more worries. What about you? What you got?
I think the biggest one, that's a pretty general one, I won't
Hmm.
go into, of course. I can be myself now. I couldn't be myself with those.
Hmm. You couldn't be yourself.
Yeah.
So who were you be?
See, that's the fun thing. I don't think I can give like some examples of it, but I didn't really know who I was. That just things like just being my goofy self. Like I'm a goofy, like fun. I make a lot of jokes, a lot of dirty jokes. As you know. Anyway, but yeah, anytime I would like be myself in that way, he would look at me like I was an alien or that judgmental look.
Mhm.
That was the judgy look when he did that.
Mm.
And he would say things to me like, "Why are you so awkward, bud?"
He's talking to a child.
Yeah, I'm just being myself. But yeah, I would always feel so judged for it. Oh, and I was being immature. That was another thing he
Well,
would say.
I've had a similar experience, but I've never expressed it the way how you have. But yeah, I could see what you mean because I remember having to like withhold thoughts or things that I wanted to say,
Hmm.
um, things that I would want to do, like just for me. Like
Yeah.
not, doesn't necessarily even include the other person,
Hmm.
but things that I would want to do for me.
Oh, I don't know which one
All
this
right,
is.
like because that you know that you're gonna get punished maybe, yeah.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what you mean. Like you couldn't be yourself in terms of just do what you would have chosen.
Yeah, that's another big one. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's such a broad one too,
Yeah, I
right?
know. There's a lot.
Because you
Yeah.
lose yourself,
Hmm.
yeah, in that relationship. In fact, yeah, they kill you. They literally will kill you. Because they can't, because to be yourself means that you're kind of like exhibiting, a form of self-love.
Hmm.
And because they're so jealous, they don't want anyone else to have you, not even as a friend. All right. So you can only be friends with friends that they chose for you.
Yeah.
You can't have your own friends. You can't have a life other than with them. They must, yeah, kind of interweave themselves
Mm-hmm.
into everything that you do.
Yep.
Yeah, so even just your own thoughts with yourself, which is healthy, like being mindful, thinking, what would I like to do today?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do this. This is exactly what I am going to do. And then they say, well, what are you doing? Oh, you're wasting your time. Well, you didn't ask me. You should have asked me, and I would have told you. You
Mm-hmm.
should have asked me if this, you should have asked me if that. You have to consult with them on everything. Yeah, they'll kill you. You can't be yourself. I like that one.
That's a big one. There's a lot of different like angles to it.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason there's so many elements is because we're unique. Everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we even talk about this because it doesn't manifest the same for everyone when you're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing the abuse. So the thought of you not being yourself, as you said, I didn't even know who I was. Well, that's the awkward thing about life and dealing with these people. Because who you are is who you create, who you
Mm-hmm.
choose to be, right? That's a conversation between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. But they believe that everything is fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And you already are who you are and you can't control yourself, you can't change. They hate change.
Oh, you
Right.
can't handle it.
Right. So, because they're stuck in a cycle of abuse from their past. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, another thing I just thought of, food. Like I couldn't eat the way I wanted to eat without these little comments, these critical, nasty little comments. Like I would want to, we would be at a restaurant and I would want to order a salad, and he would tell me, "Oh, that's such a waste of money. You could just buy this and this and this from the store and make the exact same thing." And I'm like, no, you can't actually. Like, buying all the ingredients would make like probably 20 salads, and I don't want to eat a salad for a whole month straight. Like, but anyway.
No, no, I know you're saying it makes logical sense. It makes logical sense how illogical they are, or rather irrational,
Mhm.
because, they're trying to make it seem like, yeah, like I'm gonna convince you this is a bad idea.
Yep. And when I chose to try going vegetarian for 2 weeks, I think it was.
Hmm.
Oh man, the comments never ended. We would be out with friends, and I would order, a vegetarian meal, and he would make fun of me in front of everybody. And yeah, he would always make comments. Like every single time I ate something that wasn't meat, I
Mm.
would be like criticized for it.
Yeah, you're just gonna choose to be you.
Hmm.
Hmm. Here's my second one,
Okay.
and this one I found really interesting. I have more money.
I've actually noticed that too. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know how like you get to that place. I just know like patterns that happen over time that kind of gets you like feeling a specific way.
Hmm.
And I'm still trying to like make sense of it, to be honest with you, because you're wondering now, I'm wondering now, like I literally have the same money I always have in terms of income. All right, my income stream hasn't really changed.
Right.
Why do I have more money? Is what I found myself asking. How is it that I have more money? How is this possible? Like, what am I doing so differently?
Oh, you're doing one huge thing.
That's it. Yeah, because and I realized there's a connection between the worrying
Mhm.
and how much money you have.
Oh.
Yeah, so because you worry so much and you're always thinking about what they want, your thoughts are consumed with them,
Mhm.
and your money follows your thoughts.
Yeah.
So you spend more money trying to satisfy what they need.
Mhm. Yeah, when you're worrying about money,
Hmm.
that means you're thinking about the lack of,
Yes,
and then when you think of the lack of something, you get more of that.
yes, it's kind of like that law of attraction thing, right? You
Exactly.
you attract what you focus on.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have your like emotions attached to too, that's a
And I find it interesting because narcissists are some of the most successful people
Hmm.
in the world. But you know why they're so successful? Because they're taking away your money
Hmm.
and you have nothing. You gotta hang on to them to just get at least a few things that you work for yourself.
Yeah, like we by us sharing our experiences in this, it happens either if it's like both ways.
Yeah,
It happened with you, it happened with me, the exact same way. Like
yeah.
the gender role doesn't really matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter at all. You see, that's the thing, right? So, like, people would think, based on the traditional gender roles, well, you're the man, so you have to take care of the woman and you spend your money on her. Fine, that's fine. But she makes money too.
Mhm.
Well, where's your money go? Where's the team? There's no team in this, right? Like, we didn't, they always felt like if there was no common goal,
Yeah, same thing with me.
right? It was always like, you pay for everything and I get to keep my money. Because I don't know when you're going to leave me kind of behavior is how, that she's a woman. And if you ever leave me, I have to be able to take care of myself. So it's almost like you're living under this state of threat. So like she gets to keep her money because it's so little and it's not enough and all the other stories, right?
Hmm.
And I'm in my hands, so it's my responsibility to pay for everything all the time.
Hmm.
And that's literally what was happening. There was no sharing. There was no common goals. There was no team effort. I was always responsible. You get what I'm saying, right? It is this element of responsibility that you hold, but they're always in charge. They're always in control. You see, they don't take responsibility for anything, but they take control of everything. And that's the fundamental difference. So now I notice, like, yeah, I don't worry anymore, and I also don't think negatively, and I don't spend money anymore to keep somebody else happy and satisfied.
Hmm.
And apparently, being happy doesn't cost much.
Hmm.
That's what I've learned. I have a lot more money.
I would say the second thing for me would be hmm, I can leave the house whenever I want.
Control. You have
I
control
can,
of yourself.
yes,
Whoa.
I can go shopping if I feel like. I can go for a walk. I can just leave and not say anything to anybody. Like before, if you wanted to leave the house, well, you had to get permission. But he wouldn't call it permission.
What would you
He
call
just
it?
he didn't have a word. But like in that letter that I started reading last time, it's like the reason I want you to let me know where you're going, or whatever. To it's not to get permission like you seem to think. And I'm like, well, no, it actually is. It's just, and he carries on saying like, it's just to give me a chance to ask you if you want to do this other thing, and you have the choice to do whatever thing, which is not true, because this happened. I think I started telling the story in a previous.
Let's slow down a bit there because I want to back up there. So what you just said is really interesting. So there's a cause and effect thing, all right? So you have to be the one that takes the responsibility to first say where you're going.
Mhm.
And that's the only time that he will then, based on what he's saying, chime in or, say, well, okay, since you're planning to do that, I would prefer if you did this because I was thinking. So you will never get his thoughts unless you tell him
Mhm.
first what you're planning to do.
Yeah,
That's manipulation.
it's not like he could tell me the plan he has
Oh no, well, the plan he has will never emerge unless you
unless
have a
I
plan.
have a plan. Yep.
Manipulation and control.
Like this hiking story. It was a Saturday morning, and my ex-friend invited me for a hike.
Hmm.
And I was like, all these thoughts going on in my head, like, oh, I should tell him, should I tell him? And I was all worried and stressed out because I knew how it would go. And so I get all ready. He's downstairs, and I go downstairs, and I'm like, I'm gonna go with so and so for a hike. Oh, wait, wait, wait! You didn't tell me you were going on a hike.
No, you just told me.
I'm like, yeah, it was a spontaneous thing. It's like, well, I wish you would have told me ahead of time. No, I was planning a trip to go here with you, and now like now you're just doing this.
So it's really amazing, right? It's like the contradictions, right? So you wish that I would have told you ahead of time, and you were planning a trip. Why didn't you tell me ahead of time since you know these really good standards
Yeah, he was full of shit. That was never a plan.
until you said something?
Exactly. Until I didn't tell him. I didn't give him a heads up that I was leaving the house. And I should have. But this isn't controlling. No, 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 no. This isn't controlling. I'm not being controlling. And I'm not asking you to ask me permission.
But the point is, yeah, but we're out now.
That reminds me of a part in this letter. So I think did I tell this? No, I didn't tell this story. So after I left, he brought back a bunch of my stuff. And in that stuff, like I had a feeling there was going to be a letter in there.
Mhm.
This was 6 months after I left.
Mm.
So in this letter, it said, no, no, no. It was an email, a previous email. It wasn't this time. He said something like, I can't wait to hold you in my arms again. And this was like after it was obviously like done. I sent him that email saying, this is done. I'm not coming back. And he's like, yeah, I can't wait to hold you in my arms again.
Yeah, it's almost like if yeah,
Didn't get it.
holding you will change your mind.
No, I was absolutely appalled by him at this point. I was disgusted by him. That's like the last thing.
Yeah, if you could just like touch me, you'll see. And like if I could touch you, then all of a sudden you're gonna realize, yeah, how much you miss me. No, that's a you problem. That's actually you still missing, the fact that your parents probably abandoned you or neglected you and didn't hug you enough, and you're stuck in that cycle
Mhm.
of childhood neglect. And I'm sorry, but yeah, it's not my problem. You're projecting.
Mhm. You know, my first thought when I read it is like, well, that's mighty presumptuous.
We're gonna wrap it up here today.
Yes.
This has been two things that we can do now that we couldn't do when we were for a narcissist.
Yeah. And there's so many more. These are
Obvious,
just like,
yeah, these are the obvious ones that stand out to us, but we'll share more in time to come. Enjoy the rest of your week.
yes.
Listening.